All right. Hi, Dennis. We're back with the Brain
Hello.
Train Revolution Day 3.
Yeah, I'm excited, Adora. It's great to be with you again, and everybody who's tuning in from wherever they are in the world. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, and wherever you are, please drop in the comments if you're watching live. Let us know that you're watching live and where from. And if you're watching the replay, say you're watching the replay and where from. We'd love to know where you are, what's going on, what part of the world you're in. And also any questions that you have as we go through this series in the next few weeks, please put them in the comments because we will, I'll bring them to the call and Dennis can answer them. So Dennis, today we're talking about self-talk of champions.
That's right. Yeah, the first day we talked about how incredibly plastic the brain is and how it can heal itself and how it can follow instructions and create new freeways. And the second day we talked about visualization to materialization. We talked about how everything is mostly pictorial in your mind before it becomes expressed in words. But the words are really important because you talk yourself in and out of everything you do. And you have a running commentary in your mind. It's about 400 to 500 words a minute. You really are going in these little clips and you're saying, I should do this, I need to do this, I can't do that, why did that happen, I feel so stressed. And you have this little voice inside of you. I call it Are You Me Too? And Are You Me Too is like R2-D2 from Star Wars. It's a little robot, a little droid robot inside of us that records everything we say to ourselves and says, oh, that must be important to you. You keep saying it over and over again. And so we have this talk, this self-talk, and champions have learned maybe in their own way, maybe they stumble onto it, maybe they have a great coach, maybe they've learned the right way, but they know how to talk themselves in to a great performance. And when they have a bad performance, they know how to reinforce a better performance rather than mull over a bad performance. So it's called instant pre-play and instant replay. And it's just as important to replay something in a positive way than it is to set yourself up in a positive way. So as you're thinking, you're saying to yourself, okay, that's not like me. I'm better than this. Next time I'll get it right. And so there's a kind of self-talk that is general. We all do it every day, every waking moment of our lives. There is a specific self-talk when you want to talk yourself into something that you're specifically goal setting to do. And then there's these words that you say that are called trigger words that trigger a certain action.
Well, awesome. So where are we starting today in this conversation? Do we start with the specifics or trigger words? It would seem like trigger words are happening all the time, negatively or positively, right?
They are, and these 1 or 2 or 3 words are very, very important. And it's very important to listen to what you're saying to yourself. So there've been a lot of programs called What Do You Say When You Talk to Yourself, and talk yourself up, and say things that as if you're a positive coach. But the trigger words are used a lot by athletes and high performance people. It would be steady now, speed, power, explode, extend, calm, first serve in, that's like it, now we're getting someplace, come on, that's not like you, you're better than this, bad seed, stop. And stop is a negative word. So what happens to me is when I'm thinking and talking negatively, maybe I've seen something on the news, or I don't like what's going on politically in the world, and I'm not a political person, so I'm neither a left winger or a right winger. I believe in going down the center and voting on issues rather than on parties or people. I really like the issues that are important to me. But when I see something negative, many times, and this has happened with my children, I have actually said to my children when they were small, clean up this room, it looks like a pigsty. And when I said that to them, they got the message that I thought they were little pigs. And little pigs have messy rooms. So instead, I would say, let's all clean our rooms together. Let's get our things in order. Let's get this so that we can find everything that we want. Or let's stop this project and start another one. So I've learned how not to correct in the negative myself or others. And I've learned to talk to myself, especially when I wake up in the morning. When I wake up in the morning, I say, good morning. Good to be with you. Good to be here. Thank you for this day. Let's go. So I say, let's go, or let's get going a lot. And those are my trigger words. Smile, laugh, smell the roses. Wow, look at the sun. Oh, it's cool and crisp today. Those little words set you up. And a tennis player will say that. Backhand strong, get that first serve in, get the ace. But they don't say, oh, don't hit the net. Don't hit it too far. So you can't concentrate on the reverse of an idea. You can only concentrate on an idea going in a direction. It doesn't matter whether you put words like I won't be late, I won't do this. So these are the trigger words. And then we learned long ago, Adora, that very long ago, there was a sports psychologist named Edmund Jacobson and Johann Schultz. And they found that when they developed statements, and these are called Olympic self-statements, they found that if you said to yourself when you were relaxed, my left arm is heavy, I'm relaxing. My left arm is heavy and warm, I'm calm. My right arm is heavy and warm, I'm relaxing. And then they move. My stomach is warm, I'm calm. My breathing is relaxed and effortless. My heart rate is slow and regular. I'm a winner, I'm a winner. And they found that the things that the athletes were learning to say to themselves were producing in the body those physiological results because you were actually giving R2D2, giving your brain instructions on what you wanted your brain to tell your body to do. And it was fascinating. We're talking about almost 100 years ago, 60, 70, 80 years, and it's progressed to the point where finally neuroscience is proving these things to be true. So I'm very much interested in psycholinguistics, psychological language, and I'm very much interested in what you say in autosuggestion, in other words, autogenics, generated from inside of me, the language, the vocabulary of a champion. And that's what I'd like to share with our live audience today is you can bring this about in a certain way. We started with trigger words, and then you move on to maybe general self-talk. And general self-talk is simply, I feel strong and healthy. My lungs are pink and clear. My breathing is relaxed and effortless. I'm calm and in control. And these are positive things. This is going to be a good day today. I like who I see when I look at me. I look in the mirror and I smile. And I'm very happy with my loved ones. And those are things that should be constantly reviewing, like a music video in our mind on a daily basis, because that means we're setting up the day. You don't need to look out the window to see what kind of day it's going to be. All you need to do is look inside.
those, again, you have so much wisdom that so many things come in one package of statements and words. So saying something like, I never quit would be a negative then, right?
Right. That would be wrong because the brain gets quit. You never what? Quit. Or I am overweight, and the brain says, yes, we know that. What are you going to do about it? Well, I want to lose weight. Well, you certainly do, and you certainly need to, and we know that. What are you going to do about it? My body is trim and in shape. I love my winter's workout. I eat nutritious food, fiber-based carbohydrate, lean source protein. Water is my favorite fitness drink. Those kinds of things, the brain says, now we're getting somewhere. Now I know what you want to do. So we want to drink more water. And it's to you, it's your fitness drink. So you're not going to drink soda. Because if you drink Diet Coke and Cokes or soda drinks, you're leaching the phosphorus, the phosphorus and the calcium. So phosphorus in the bubbly stuff leaches the calcium out of your bones, and you begin to get osteoporosis if you drink sodas and carbonated drinks all the time. So it's better to say water or cranberry juice or something is my favorite drink. And that way the brain homes in on that. And when you go into a store, it's like having seen a commercial maybe 40 or 50 times. And so we need to give ourselves positive commercials. So we'll buy the things that are good for us.
So trigger words, and also moving this from the coach speaking to the voice inside to the voice coming from inside as all these voices, but trigger words. So if someone wanted to apply the three things that we're talking about today, and I know that we've got a program that goes way deeper and really helps people, specifically you working with them one-on-one around their questions, their scenario, their life. But if someone wanted to just go to work with this and a trigger word, they want to make up a trigger word for, these would be about emotional states and overall feeling states like calm, peaceful, happy, or but I think you also said something very technical, like hitting a certain way, or so how do you choose that word if everyone wanted to play with one word and just really work with this based on them and what's important to them? How do you choose that?
Well, you would say focused. I'm focused, strong, calm, slow down, take it easy, easy does it. Breathe, deep breathing, take a deep breath, breathe first. So you have those things that are important to you. Let's say you feel stressed a lot, you say focused, calm, relaxed. And those trigger words will evoke inside of you some physiological responses in your heart, your brain, and your body to do that. And it will also create a chemical reaction to release the kind of hormones and the kind of chemicals that do that, such as the endorphins. The endorphins are like morphine within. And so I'd rather get a natural high than take this stuff. So when people ask me why I'm so positive and excited, I said, oh, I'm on that drug called endorphin. And they said, we knew you were on something because you can't always be this happy, Dennis. And I said, I'm usually happy. Sometimes I'm sad, and I get very melancholy sometimes, and I do feel anger. I do feel it. It wells up inside. If I see someone abusing a child, or a man abusing a woman, or somebody abusing someone who isn't strong enough to fight back, I can feel the anger come, and I say, take it easy now. Respond rather than react. make a call, call 911, get the policeman over there to come, but don't take this into your own hands. But what I will also do, though, if there's an accident on the freeway and there's nobody around, I will stop and I will maybe put a flare out so that people won't run into the wreckage. And I'll make sure that nobody moves whoever the people are, and I'll make sure that I call 911. So I will take positive actions in the face of those kind of dangers, but I will not lose control and become part of the problem. So simple trigger words like that, when you repeat them, are very good. And you can record those on your smartphone, and those will be reminders for you. And you can even do them at certain times of the day, first thing in the morning and the last thing you do at night. You want to wake up on a positive thought, and you want to go to sleep on a positive thought. You never want to try to sleep when things are not right in your head. So you need to get those positive thoughts so that when you're in the twilight zone, neither awake nor asleep, that's the perfect time to embed these loving, positive messages. That's why it was called, for many, many years, twilight learning. And there were twilight learning machines, what you had by your bed, and you put the sounds of the ocean in, and then on top of the sounds of the ocean, you had these messages that you had that were calming and relaxing. And they still do that a lot today. But I go back to, in addition to those trigger words, we can move on to statements. And statements are good because they're more than one word, and they enable you to put the emotion and the specifics into the sentence. But the sentences need to be short, positive. So there's a formula for creating images of achievement, which many people have called affirmations for many years. And they've called them that for the last 50 years. And they're really images of achievement. They're auto-suggestion statements. They're cognitive reconstruction. They're reconstructing the way you're talking about your life. And it was learned many years ago in Bulgaria and Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe got most of the psychiatrists after World War II, and Western Europe got the other kind. So in Bulgaria, there was a Bulgarian named Georgi Lazanov, and he invented a whole process called superlearning. And superlearning was the it thing during the 80s. During the 80s, everyone was into superlearning. And superlearning used Baroque music from the Baroque period because it was slow. And then used these statements that were taken from sports psychologists, Edmund Jacobson and others, where you say to yourself the condition that you want most to be in right now. They're about 6 to 8 words long. They can be 4 to 10 words, but fairly short sentences. Personal, I, me, my, I am. Not I will be, but I am. The mind does not respond to future things. I'm going to be a good father by next year. No, you're not. I am a good father. I treat my loved ones with respect. I listen to my children. So when you're doing that, then you put in the emotion. I am loving and caring with my family. I take time, and it feels good to be with them. When they're going to sleep, I say, I love you. I'm glad to be your father. It's so wonderful that we wear the same last name. I'm so proud to be your father. Those things I learned to do, and it made a marvelous difference in my relationship with my own children. So the process is personal, positive, what you want, powerful, something really strong, present tense. So you want the personal, the positive, the powerful, the possible. You want it to be, so I call it the 5 Ps. I want it to be personal. I want it to be positive. I want it to be powerful, but I want it to be possible.
And
And
so,
I want it to be present in the present.
and present, yes. So when you say possible, what is that line, or where do you draw the line of possible and dream? You know, yesterday we talked about be a dreamer and hang out with dreamers. So when we're writing these things, is it that you climb a ladder of possibility, or you throw it out just a little further than where you are? Or what, is there some, magic formula of how far, beyond what has been possible for you, you throw something out?
Well, there's something realistic about all of this, so that you don't become Pollyanna, and so you don't become a impossible seminar attendee who attends every program and tries everything out, but somehow you never get there. Your goals at first should be just out of your current reach, but not out of sight. They should be able to be performed by someone your age, someone who has the experience that you do. And so it's wonderful to find people with similar dreams and goals who probably are at the same point in life as you are. Maybe you haven't had the experience. For example, I will not be president of the United States. I can say I want to, I can dream about it, I can throw it out in the law of attraction, but I need to be prepared for that intersection of preparation and opportunity. And I think being realistic means just keep reaching in incremental stair step your way to the stars. Do things that are stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. So look at it that way. And because you have immediate success in a low goal, short term, you'll get reinforced in a positive way, and that will be a ceremony for you. And that will be a success reinforcing feeling. But if you shoot for the moon, touchdown on one play, the long 80-yard pass, when you're not prepared to throw it, or someone isn't prepared to receive it, makes you feel that maybe I can't do it because it doesn't seem to be happening for you. So, I've had people say, I want to be the youngest billionaire in my country. And I say, very good. Which billionaires have you studied lately who are your age or a little older or any age? And they say, well, Bill Gates and Musk and Gates and a Facebook guy, and then the Amazon guy. I want to be like that. And I said, good. By providing what service that will make people either happier, healthier, or save them time, money, time, relationship. Remember, we talked about people's minds, my health, my stress, my time, my money, my relationships. So I use the practicality of saying, I am who I am the age I am, and I'm going to be looking for others like me who've achieved much more than I have in the areas of life that I want to improve. And I will study those. So I want a role model and a coach and a mentor who's been there and done that, or is doing it right now. Then I want to model myself after the way they read, they think, they talk. And that keeps you more on track rather than just trying to get instant gratification, instant success, which rarely occurs. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't take as long as we think. And that's why I wouldn't discourage anyone if they're having a slow go. Maybe you need to take a different path. Maybe you need to do things a little differently. Maybe even the daily routine needs to be different. And instead of a rut that you might be in, get into a dynamic daily routine.
Ooh.
Yeah, a dynamic daily routine. A routine is really good because if you're going to be a great pianist, pianist, violinist, author, speaker, mother, father, dancer. You need to put in the effort. You need to put in the practice, and practice makes permanent. Only perfect practice makes perfect. So I think the idea of practicing the right stuff, they've just remade the movie again, The Right Stuff, and Tom Cruise is in it again. And it's going to be kind of a later day remake of The Right Stuff. And I've always said the astronauts are practicing the right stuff so they can get to the moon, stand on it, get back in, and get back to Earth safely. But they haven't done it before. So if you haven't done it before, it doesn't mean you can't rehearse it. I call it pre-rehearse it. Rehearse means over. Pre-rehearse means preview. So I like to pre-rehearse something I haven't done based upon people who are doing it.
Awesome, got it. So still go for the big dreams. Allow your heart to be like a child and imagine things before you put limiters on what was possible. But then when it comes to these trigger words, self-talk, I am statements of where you're wanting to be, do those in increments that are just right out in front of you. So little, like the next reach up, sort of climbing the ladder to that bigger thing. Find someone your age that has accomplished what you are wanting to accomplish, or at least a little ahead of you in achieving what it is that you're wanting to achieve, and study them so that you know how and what it takes, and then create habits of a dynamic daily discipline, or a dynamic day where you're doing things in a ritualistic way that move you toward what it is that you want to do. I went to a writers conference and it was so funny. I heard several times that people would say, you know what you have to do to be a writer? You have to write. So that there were lots of people, pumping up themselves about it and talking about what they're going to write one day, but years were going by and they're not having these habits of writing. And so that's what I think about.
That's a great analogy, because maybe I've written the same book over and over again. I always say to people, they say, Dennis, you've written 15 to 16 plus 4 other co-authored books. How do you do that? I say, well, I like to write a book a year, but it doesn't take me a year to write the book because I need uninterrupted periods of time to focus on just writing. And they say, but what if it isn't really that good? And I said, you don't know until you do it and other people read it, whether it's good or not. So don't be a judge in advance. And remember, you're not painting a Picasso, you're painting a house. And so don't try to make your book perfect. Just write it and edit it and let other people review it. But write the book, because most books are only half written or thought about, and you just wade in and get it all over you. And I remember saying to my book, it was in the drawer, it was The Psychology of Waiting. It had been a doctorate dissertation. And I looked in the drawer and I said, I don't think you're good enough to be published. And the book said to me, no, I'm who I am. You've written me. It's just that you don't think you're good enough to be a published author. And I went, whoa, wait a minute. I've already written it. Why am I afraid to try it out? And we have this feeling that we're not good enough like the others, like this great writer, best-selling authors. Everyone wants to be a New York Times best-selling author, but today it's better to be self-published, because most publishing houses now are printers that have a following, and they like sure things. They want people to have a strong social media following. They want somebody who's been on television a lot. They want a celebrity who is easy to sell to the public. So, write your book. And another thing too, when I talked about being realistic, our family especially on my mother's side, tends to be overweight. So we have this group, if you spray painted us up against the barn, we'd all have a similar figure. I call it the rhino family.
Mm-hmm.
And so I weighed close to 200 pounds for a long time. And that's not a good weight for me to stay healthy. I should weigh less. So am I going to say to myself, I weigh 160 and have a buff, ripped body? My little R2D2 is going to say, come on, Dennis, let's just be a little more realistic, because actually you weigh 200 and you have love handles. You have a little bit of inches coming over your belt. So instead I say, I weigh 190 or 195 and I feel comfortable in a bathing suit. I weigh 195 and feel comfortable in a bathing suit. Now we're getting somewhere. Because then as I see the progress there, as I get to that desired weight, I can pull myself down a little more, but I don't have to say I need to lose another 10 pounds. No, I'm becoming a 190, 185 person. And that works well for me, is the incremental, realistic, step by step. That doesn't mean I don't want the buff body. That doesn't mean I don't imagine myself as a superhero. Of course I do. I'm like a child even today. And I don't want to sell myself short. We don't want to sell ourselves short. So I'm not suggesting that you bring in your dreams, that you put them in a box. No, don't do that. Don't ever do that, because the human being is self-limiting. And we have psychological limitations that we live with. We put ourselves in that, whether we know it or not. We have physical limits, but we'll never test those because of our psychological limitations. So we have these great abilities. Each of us has enormous, at least 7 talents, 7 big talents, major, enormously wonderful talents, but we don't think we have them. We haven't discovered them. We didn't discover them when we were children. We got into our subject. Let me just put this down a minute. There. That I didn't put my landline on mute, but what I'm saying is we're self-limiting, but we'll never test our limits. So don't put limitations that aren't there.
Yeah, that's a big one. I get what you're saying now. So still think big, go for big things, but it's much easier to see the progress when you just take that next closest step. So from 200 to 195, feeling comfortable, now you become that person. You, Dennis, not me. That would be, I'm 5'2". That would be horrendous. So on my body, so for me.
For women, it could go from 140 to 120 to 110 or whatever. I mean,
whatever. Yeah. Some are larger and more muscle, beautiful. But the point is that we walk the increment down, hold that space, feel amazing in the bathing suit. And then as you get confidence or gain confidence with that, because you actually get to embody it, live it, then take it to the next step, the next step, the next step, that it's easier to get to that buff body, if that's the dream, right? By starting where you're at, maybe throwing that daydream out there, but then moving slowly in your I am and playfulness and ownership of the thinking.
And I like short statements. So a short statement would be, this is not a image of achievement, but by the inch, life is a cinch, but by the yard, it's hard. Beginning is half done, because most people spend their time beginning to begin. And, so it's called analysis. You begin to second guess yourself. And so why in a football game is the first down 10 yards? Because if you have a running game or a passing game, that first down shows that you're on your way to the goal line. And so you can't always get there in one long run. So I like increments and stair stepping. And I know everyone that I've known who's been successful has a focus, not a total game plan, but they're taking these little steps to get to the big leap. That's why they always say that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And you just have to put one foot after the other. So I think that's part of this. So if you're setting up a verbalization of your life, try to be as realistic. For example, you can't say, I'm the club champion this year. Well, wait a minute now. What's your handicap? What's your best game that you've shot? So what you say is, my handicap is coming down. I usually shoot in the high 70s, or I usually shoot in the mid 80s, or I'm bringing my handicap down to be a 15, and then I'll be a 12 handicapper, and then I'll be this. So instead of being competitive with other people, I'm the best, I'm the greatest. Muhammad Ali had to say that because he was in a sport where you beat someone with your fists into unconsciousness almost, and you need to intimidate them to make them, he wanted to feel going into each boxing match that he was the best, the champion, the greatest. And sometimes young people have taken that to a different level. I'm the greatest dancer, or I'm the greatest this. And it doesn't normally work this way. It works once in a while for really people who have all the moves, all the talents, all the gifts. So I think don't be competitive, be personal, and be positive, and be possible, and be powerful, and be in the moment, be present. And I think if you do that, and we will be teaching people how to do that as simply as we possibly can. And I'm really excited that we're working on a possible application, an app for your smartphone that will enable you to really experiment and do this on your own, maybe in as little as 10 minutes a day. And that would be a wonderful way to get going in the right way.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for all of the value today. Those of you that have been watching live and commenting and sharing, thank you. Thank you. We are paying attention. I'm going to read them after. I'm just not wanting to miss a nugget of what Dennis is bringing to us right now. We're going to continue this series over the next few weeks. So if you have questions, answer them or ask them and we'll get them answered. Also, as you're applying these things, share what your breakthroughs are. Share what you notice in your feeling state. If anything that you've learned so far, has woken something up and you would love to hear what's going on, share it in the comments, send it in a message. And if you'd like to know about going deeper into this, not only going deeper, but learning these things at a level that you can help bring this to your students, to your sales team, to clients that you coach, then also reach out to me. We've got a very, very, very special sacred opportunity to work one-on-one with Dennis, with Deborah. We'll be talking his daughter more about this later. But if you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so me, I love this, I love Dennis, I want to go deeper, then feel free to book a call with me in advance. There's no need to, we'll just look at what's going on in your world. But Dennis, thank you as always for delivering this phenomenal content. And what else I want to say is that again and again, I hear how great your voice is, how easy it is for people to listen to you, and also how many people you've impacted. And what I love most, having been able to work with lots of people, is that every time I listen to you, I am grounded back into my heart. And that is whether that's being my own fan, being the fan of my children, being a better, more kind human being. And speaking to what you said a few days ago about having a mentor, having role models, you know, being able to imitate. Those of you watching on this live, if you feel that, this is the opportunity to share space with a phenomenal role model that I think you've just really got the best of both worlds of really great strategy, but staying very grounded in heart and heart space. Those are my words. I know you would say it differently, but I appreciate that so much. So thank you for being who you are and for sharing yourself with us today.
Well, thank you. And I always like a little sign off. And my sign off is my whole life has been devoted to chasing my passion rather than my pension. Money has never been a driving force in my life, but as a byproduct, the abundance has come to me without me looking at it financially. And I get financial rewards if you give more in value than you receive in payment. But the other thing is, I'm so glad to be working with a team that includes not only you and a tremendous team of people, but has my own daughter, Dr. Deborah Waitley. My first child is going to be the next generation, and she's a legitimate psychologist and talent manager working for some big companies, but she's decided to put more effort into what we're doing. So it's a great team. And the last thing I would say is, remember, you are the expert on yourself, whether you know it or not. You spend more time with you than anyone else. The most important meetings you'll ever attend are the ones you attend with yourself and by yourself in your moments. And you know what talents you have deep down because you've been doing what you've been doing, and you know what you love. You know deep down what your passion is. And so try to unleash those. And be someone who, when you're meeting with yourself, talk with all due respect and be your own coach and mentor and do things that are goal achieving instead of tension relieving. And just remember, when your mind talks, your body listens and acts accordingly. So talk yourself up.
Love it. Thank you
Thank
so much.